What's going on, everybody? It's episode 6 of the Daily Logs, September 7th, 2022. And we're looking at the daily chart. I first want to mention I changed my chart colors just because somebody was explaining that it's a little difficult to see because of the background. Can you guys let me know in the comments if that's been a problem for you guys? The only reason I have my chart colors darker on the background, I have a couple eye problems. If anybody else has this, it's like eye floaters where basically it's like a black dot that floats around in my eye. So if I have a white background on, it's extremely noticeable, and it really distracts me while I'm trading. But I'll definitely keep the white on for while I'm doing recordings and stuff like that. But without further ado, the daily time frame, let's start here. I said last night I was looking for price to come down into the opening of the daily bullish order block, but we ended up just taking out the previous day low and then expanding higher. So I did predict a bullish day. That's better. But I didn't get exactly what I wanted. I will show what happened today. It was very interesting to see play out, especially with the news. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, we dug into the opening of the daily bullish order block and then the basically discount low of this fair value gap here. Now, why were we bullish? We're digging into a discount relative from this swing high or swing low to this swing high. So we're in a discount. We are overall bearish, but just because we're in a discount means that aligned with a bullish PD array, it could send us signals that we are potentially bullish on lower time frames for a short-term retracement, right? So that's the way I viewed it. We haven't had any significant pullbacks, and I annotated last night as well. I wasn't extremely confident, so don't take this as if I was saying 100% we were going bullish, but I did note these relative equal highs here. So that caught my interest. Okay, it wasn't just that we were in a discount and we were hitting the daily bullish order block. I was also looking at liquidity. The drawn liquidity for me were these relative equal highs, and I'll dig in on the lower time frames. There was lower time frame relative equal highs, and even today ICT got the initial movement wrong, which I don't by any means blame him because I was seeing the exact same thing. It's pretty phenomenal to see how he's able to operate on a dime and switch his analysis and his bias and not hold on or marry something, and he's able to cut short and then go the other way. Most traders are not able to be fluid in the markets like that. I'm still really trying to adjust and get just like him, and obviously, you know, that takes years and years of experience. But we were holding a bearish bias in the beginning of the morning just because of a few things, and I'll go over it. So we go down to a 1-hour time frame. I hate the replay button, but I want to do this just for the sake of the New York session coming into it and what we are looking at. So for me, coming into the New York session, we had these relative equal lows, right, that were taken out. And then we had one more time, ran beneath the previous day low here, right at the opening. Remember yesterday when I did a recording, we opened up and immediately took out the previous day low, which is pretty significant. I really want a price to come down again and take out that low and then see that bullish movement, but we ultimately didn't get that. Looking at, yeah, I have a few annotations down here. So let me get rid of this. Looking at previous or prior to New York session. So this is midnight, my time. To me, I just didn't think we made the low of the day. I really wanted us to dig beneath and then expand higher. I was looking at, and same with ICT, he was looking at these relative equal highs prior to the opening of New York session. And he was looking at this 50-minute fair value gap, which I was as well. It was really nice to see that. I had this marked up I had all my pre-market routines done. I went ahead and checked Twitter, and ICT was looking at this as well, which was really cool to see. So ultimately, this is what I wanted to see happen, and I think he wanted to see this happen as well. We wanted to see a purge above these relative equal highs, dig into that fair value gap, and then see something like this, which we did to a certain extent, but didn't get that full extension lower. So the reasoning behind that was we had these relative equal lows building up here, and then the sell side from overnight. So I wanted to see something like this, and then the move happen bullish, right? This is what I wanted to see, and I was explaining yesterday I wanted to see us dig into, and this area down here is the opening of that daily bullish order block. So it's me just trying to forecast my mind and see where price would most likely draw to and make sense in my head. And sometimes that doesn't work out. You're human, you're going to make errors, you're going to make mistakes. So if you watch price, okay, we dig into this fair value gap, we close it all the way in, and I was just looking at the lower time frames. I was stalking this. Okay, so we had our displacement lower here. Okay, off the context that we took out relative equal high, so we took out buy side liquidity. We ran into a fair value gap bearish, and we were inside of a premium. So all those are good things, right? And then we had our displacement lower. We had our market structure shift. Let me get rid of this real quick. To me, this is where I took a short, and I ended up getting stopped out of break even. We had our market structure shift here. And then we had our fair value gap right here, which it's incredible to watch ICT be able to take profits so early and be able to switch on a dime. I'll explain basically, at least in my eyes, why he took the long. So everything's adding up for me to take it for the YouTube model, right? Which he does explain. From the previous swing, you should be looking to take profits at equilibrium. Let me change this real quick, sorry. Right, so you should be looking to take profit. If we're getting in here at the fair value gap, our stops are going above the high, you should be looking to take profits beneath the swing low here, and then anything underneath equilibrium of the price swing. So he ended up taking profits, I believe, underneath here, which is really incredible to see. I didn't see that personally. I really wanted to dig into that sell side. So I believe right around, it was like down here, I moved my stop loss to break even because I was already up 13 points. I moved my stop loss to break even because I saw a couple things personally that kind of just was not agreeing with my bias. As soon as I saw I mean, we were already moving up on lower time frames, but I was looking at, and this is something in the YouTube model, I was looking at this BISI here. Okay, I was looking at this BISI and then the 15-minute especially. I was looking at this fair value gap here. Okay. Which I ended up not being able to go along, but we ultimately dug into this fair value gap. And if you look at the 5-minute, it dug into the second fair value gap, which was in a OTE, optimal trade entry region. You go swing low to swing high, right? We're inside of a deep discount, and then we expanded higher. So all this was a market structure shift, which again, that is something with time and experience and narrative. If you don't know the narrative extremely well, which even me coming into the morning session, I wasn't extremely confident. And you could hear it last night. I wasn't extremely confident in my analysis. And again, even ICT was saying he held no bias really. He was neutral, but he was willing to take the shot on the short and see what played out. Again, everything's just probabilities in trading and money management, and not allowing yourself to blow up on a losing trade and tilt and start revenge trading and doing all these different things. What keeps you alive, even if you're losing. Again, we're human, we make errors. It's about having amazing money management and understanding probabilities and variables. So in trading, being a human, you're going to make errors. So that's the biggest key lesson. And I know over time with my system and even knowing myself, I'm going to be profitable over time, even if I take a loss, even if I go break even. The best thing for me is just not blowing up, not revenge trading, not getting mad at myself for making mistakes, and we all do. It's about just keeping your cool. So let's go over, I believe ICT took this long here. So again, this is even the YouTube model. And I believe he was going to explain, he didn't do a PM session review or overall review of the day, which I wanted to see because somebody asked him in the comments. To me, this isn't really a market structure shift, but this is again the thing with market structure shifts and buy side, sell side liquidity raids. It's all about knowing the narrative and where you're at exactly in the market. Okay, the reasoning ICT took this trade, at least in my mind, is we're inside of that 5-minute, 15-minute busy, right? We took out the sell side liquidity. We displaced higher. Okay, we ran down 3 times. 1, 2, 3, which to him, I believe, is the 3 Indian heads. It just suggests that if price is trying to drive 3 times to one area and keeps failing, it's more than likely signaling that it's probably going to reverse. So we went ahead, took out sell side, displaced higher, and then we had our fair value gap in the 1 minute. We dug into the fair value gap and then expanded higher. Again, this is all off of the context of the 15-minute busy here and the 5-minute fair value gaps here and here, digging into that discount. So it's just really knowing where you're exactly at in the market. Coming down into here, I'll show some opportunities that you could have gotten into. So we have the 5-minute fair value gap. And the biggest thing that you need to be paying attention to is, where's my draw? Why is price doing this? Why is price expanding higher? What is it aiming towards? Well, look to our left. We have these relative equal highs here. Right? So all of this was built up from yesterday's PM session. And then we had these relative equal highs here. So both of these are a draw on liquidity, right? So we dug into that fair value gap here and then expanded higher. Now looking at this is another example. When you're in a bullish environment on lower time frames, higher time frames, no matter what, in a bullish environment, you're looking for swing lows to be taken out before expanding higher. For bearish environments, you're looking for swing highs to be taken out before going lower. So if you zoom out to the 15-minute, we took out the relative equal highs here. Coming into the reason this would be invalid for me is because of the time. This is 11:15 my time, which is lunch. We were digging into the busy here. Okay. And if we go down to a 5-minute, 2-minute, or 1 minute, from this swing low to the swing high here, we were inside of a discount beneath equilibrium, taking out the sell side here, right? So we went ahead and took out the sell side liquidity. We dug into a fair value gap here, coupled with the 15-minute fair value gap as well. displaced higher, came back into what? Another fair value gap here, and then expanded higher above the relative equal highs here, building up, right? So that's an opportunity that maybe you could have gotten into, maybe not. It particularly wasn't my setup, but I'm just showing you guys opportunities that, you know, maybe you didn't see. Looking at the rest of the day, there's nothing in here too significant. If you just continue to walk price up, fair value gap from here to here, we dug into it again and expanded higher above the relative equal highs here, and then we ultimately got into the fair value gap resting here. So looking at for tomorrow, let me remove all this. Looking at tomorrow, I'm going to be aiming towards this high here. Okay, so I'm looking at 4017.9. That is my draw on liquidity. I see a potential fair value gap here. I see a potential breaker. There's nothing super clean, maybe on a 2, 3. But I want to annotate that all of these up close candles are your breaker, right? We made a low, a high, a low. We made a higher high. So digging into this breaker, potential order block, and then we have the fair value gap here is something that I'm looking at. If you zoom down on lower time frames, this has my interest. I would like to see it come back to possibly the discount low of that fair value gap. Looking at the daily, we now have a potential daily bullish order block. So watch the high of the daily bullish order block here, and watch the opening as well, and maybe the equilibrium of that. So any of these would be a potential area to watch price dig into. I stated at the forecast for the week, we could potentially see price draw up into the volume imbalance here and watch this fair value gap here as a potential area for selling off. So this volume imbalance, this fair value gap, which is redelivered rebalanced, I can see maybe this fair value gap will get there when price expands above 4017. Right now, that's just my draw on liquidity. I think if anything, if it depends how bearish we really are, but if we get above the buy side liquidity here, I could see something like this happening. I could see that playing out potentially, and then just continuing lower. But time will only tell. I just like to see what price does at the opening of New York session, and then basically trying to forecast where I see the entire daily candle expanding. But I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if we go ahead and take out the relative equal highs here. So that's going to be it for today. Appreciate you guys. Let me know in the comments. Like I said, any questions you got, I'm more than happy to go ahead and answer. But I appreciate all you guys liking, commenting, and subscribing. Until tomorrow, good luck and good trading.